So you've moved to Jersey relatively recently. Can I ask why you chose Jersey?
So I moved to Jersey in the summer of 2020 with my family. We have always had a business presence here and a financial presence. And when the pandemic was happening, it seemed the right time to move away from London. The combination of Brexit combined with the pandemic made Jersey a very attractive place to come put our operations, not just our fund manager. And so we've progressively moved and built here. We now have 4 companies here. Of the 79 billion we manage, more than half of it is split between Portugal and Italy. And as soon as you are deep into Portugal and Italy, tourism is at the center of much of the economy. Mm-hmm. So particularly in the Algarve in Portugal, and then lesser so up near Lisbon and Oporto, we own some very key assets. In Italy, we have about 40 billion in assets that we manage. And so it's an area where over the years we've gotten more and more hands-on. Initially, we did it from a credit perspective. Then we started doing real estate developments in hospitality and hard assets in those countries. And then we wound up buying construction lenders, and eventually we bought a hotel operator. So we've been moving further. We own about 7 golf courses. I mean, as time goes on, we've gotten more and more involved in the hospitality industry and the core infrastructure that creates that sense of destination locally. Mm-hmm. So that's been the work side of it. On the personal side of it, it's fabulous. I've got 4 kids. My wife and I love it here, and the community's embraced us, and we feel like it's a unique community, and so we're thrilled to try and find ways to create the amenities and the buzz that goes with the great kind of social and community spirit that we found here in Jersey.
Can I ask, how do you choose projects? What gets you excited?
We focus very hard on the 5, 10, and 20-year futures of different places and different projects and how to generally deliver improvement. Often that is a collaborative work with local municipalities, and it tends to be a very multifaceted construct. A lot of what we have to do is think ahead with the municipality on known issues. So how do we create a sense of destination for visitors? How do we create the right usage pattern across, ideally, the full year for our locations? That's part of the puzzle. Part of the puzzle is working to think ahead with all the stakeholders how to ensure that all boats are lifted, basically. You know, if you're putting a big infrastructure, for example, we own the largest marina in Portugal. It's on a 100-year concession from the government. And the question is how, if you're going to put capital expenditure into the marina, how do you work with the retail that's immediately in front of it? How do you work with the hotels that are front to the marina? How do you work with the parking solutions so that as you increase demand for the marina, the municipality is happier and it all functions effectively? What really gets us excited is where you see situations where historically those stakeholder groups are fragmented. So where what you see is that the retail is underinvested, the coastal area or the waterfronts are underinvested, there isn't the right parking solution or other inhibitors. We did one recently where golf courses were core to the thesis. That was one of the main visitor attractions, but the golf courses, the land bank and all the residential development and the hotel industry was all owned by different people, and all of which had a fairly incremental relationship with the municipality, and it led to that region literally trading at 1/3 of the value of something 10 minutes away that had even worse amenities. But because the stakeholders didn't act in a unified way and bring investment in and raise all boats, it wound up trading at a substantial discount. And we've spent years now fixing that, buying up the different parts, then working with the municipality on a new urban plan, and then investing I mean, in that one geography, which I mean is a town smaller than the size of Jersey, we've invested more than £500 million in all sorts of projects with municipal support, working with the different stakeholders. And so I think you can make a massive impact, but you have to have a shared sense of destination. You have to have a shared vision for what you're building. You have to get the stakeholders to work together. And it has to be a coherent story that ideally applies through not just the peak season, but then through the shoulder seasons and into the off season and works for all stakeholders.
You talked about stakeholders working together. What do you think Jersey needs to do?
I feel like Jersey all through history has had a nimbleness that has been forced upon it by its role in communities and society in the world, its role as a destination, its role in economy. And I think now is one of those inflection points in the hospitality industry where having a forward-looking vision as to where Jersey wants to be is critical. Obviously, the nimbleness is great, but the nimbleness only works if you know where your destination is and what you're trying to do. And I think from what I've seen since moving to Jersey, I don't think an incrementalism is going to get there. I think if you look at where visitor numbers have declined to and you look at the amenities on offer, I don't think a small incremental change, either for good or for bad, is going to turn the page and let Jersey regenerate its role as a destination and regenerate its position as I go to Jersey for X. Jersey is the go-to destination for fill in the blank. And so I think it's a great time for the stakeholders to be having that style of brainstorm to really build a common vision. Because I'd say of the large projects that we've managed, and obviously with the benefit of seeing 79 billion of assets in action, in the absence of a joined up stakeholder plan, it really goes terribly. I mean, the reality is you have underinvestment. Parts of the economy just don't get what they need. Parts of the hospitality sector, or frankly, any of the amenities that support the sense of destination or the reason why people come, don't work together coherently. That is a significant detractor from investment. I think we want to get a sense of destination that's special to Jersey under an agreed purpose that is going to create that visitor traffic flow. And I don't think incrementalism, as it relates to some of the areas that could be big impact, so what we do with the fort, what we do with the waterfront, et cetera, I don't think incremental small solutions outside of a joined up plan are likely to maximize investment and attract private capital to lean in. And so I think running that analysis now to decide what is that call to action, what is that future vision that we can market to the world and then build at a local level in a joined up way, that is both a compelling opportunity, but also I think a necessary step to generate the future strategy and the delivery of that strategy and the capital deployment into that strategy that will make it work.
If it's not incremental, then what do we need to do to make a step change?
I think Jersey has some of the ingredients to get it right, but if you look at the major amenities in Jersey, they are aging, and there has been a sense of incrementalism over the last 50 years around them. It isn't a world-class waterfront. The fort isn't an attraction. You look at St. Brolade's Bay, which is about as pretty as any bay in the Northern Hemisphere, and that hasn't had substantial amenity build in a way that is attractive to people. Well, the thing that looks right to me analytically is that there is the scope to create attractive mixed-use schemes that are additive to the current offering. So whether you look at Fort Regent and think that's an incredible residential destination, but one could build a Gleitgleis Park like in Berlin there. One could build almost a Montmartre-style artistic community there. One could build an incredible set of parks and amenities. Now, you need a funding mechanism to do that, and I would have thought residential real estate is the obvious funding mechanism. So you could build spectacular facilities, have residential real estate, possibly have social housing and other things, and have them all feed into each other successfully and be, frankly, profitable to fund as opposed to a large government outflow of capital. You look at the waterfront, you could have a very similar analysis. You look at some of the plans that have been talked about for the facilities near the airport. I think seeing Strive Gym get built in 9 months, you look at some of the other facilities that have been talked about in that area, I think there's an incredible ability, whether it's hotels, arenas, other things that would make Jersey a more obvious destination for different activities year-round. Whether you run events on the beaches, whether you do Montmartre on the Hill, whether you do events and arenas near the airport, whether you create a sustainable tourism vision that attracts people who are interested in those activities, whether you create a mixed-use facility on the waterfront, whether you create a mixed-use facility and public amenity on Fort Regent, all of that is an opportunity to turn the page and create a next generation of infrastructure that's inspiring, that hopefully leads to those outcomes if it's fully planned out and delivered. But I don't think when you look at the trend lines that an incremental set of kind of fragmented decisions are going to result in an influx of private capital, an influx of hotel operators, an influx of destination and low-cost airlines, or any of the other things that you would expect to be catalytic of visitor numbers and positive hospitality outcomes.
So you've mentioned global warming and carbon neutrality. Are there other things you think we need to consider to attract capital?
To me, it's a combination of a coherent vision combined with public-private partnership to fund public amenities out of viable private sector projects to get the necessary investment, which fortunately is already, frankly, on the island in a way that's pretty unique to Jersey. And so I think Jersey starts with this huge head start. If Jersey has a plan, the ability to get it funded, I think is very possible. I think there is a great hospitality culture and heritage in Jersey, and there are fantastic local operators in all parts of the spectrum, which I think is attractive. Personally, I think there needs to be a few things that make it work. I think there needs to be enough buzz around signature projects that anchor either events or a sense of destination that is a turn the page. I mean, having the British Lions here last summer was fantastic. I mean, it really created a sense of buzz in that specific community. I think creating a similarly anchored and headlining experience that puts Jersey on the map is fundamental, and I think it will require headline events and signature investments and signature projects to turn the page and get Jersey in the conversation as a place to go, as a place that you feel a sense of FOMO if you're not there or haven't been here for years. But I think it will have to be a purposeful set of target markets who value Jersey and the specifically wonderful things it has to offer. I don't think you can do that where your signature and iconic locations are 50-year-old piece of infrastructure with no coherent vision around them. I think that has to be tackled head on, which I guess is the challenge that's in front of the people today.